Okay, so we have Amblyostoma and axolotl larva pending under Urodela. Now, Amblyostoma, the genus Amblyostoma, or it is otherwise known as Amblyostoma. Okay, Amblyostoma, L-Y, or Amblyostoma tigrinum, comprises the mole salamanders, M-O-L-E, mole salamanders. Its members are small to large terrestrial forms, as we have already seen, they are all terrestrial. And the Amblyostoma tigrinum, they are commonly known as tiger salamander, is a terrestrial urodele found in North America, Central Mexico, and USA. Body is lizard-like, as we can see here, with transverse grooves and yellow patches or stripes on black skin, and that is why it is referred as a tiger salamander. Head and trunk is depressed, snout is flat and blunt, mouth is wide. Head bears well-developed eyes and a pair of poison-secreting parotid glands. Parotid, the term refer closer to ear. Okay, so parotid glands. External gill and gill slits are absent in the adults. So in the larval stage, obviously they are present because they are aquatic. Then trunk bears well-developed forelimbs and hindlimbs, unlike the necturines, which are completely aquatic. Here it is terrestrial, and hence the forelimbs and hindlimbs are well-developed. Forelimbs have 4 digits and hindlimbs with 5 each. Then tail is laterally compressed and flat, but unlike the Necturus, this in Amblyostoma, it is the caudal fin is absent. Okay, here fertilization is internal, and here we can see that male deposits spermatophores and female picks them with with the help of cloacal lips. Then fertilization is internal. Fertilized eggs are laid in water and embryo hatch out as a gill-breathing aquatic larva. It is known as axolotl. Okay, so this is the axolotl larva. Okay, so here Amblyostoma, the egg hatches out into aquatic larva, which is referred as the axolotl larva. The larva is about 25 centimeter long with a body differentiated into head, trunk, and tail. The larval body bears intercostal grooves on both the sides. 4 pairs of wide gill slits, 3 pairs of crimson colored external gills. Here you can see this is a gill. Okay, 3 pairs on each side, and well-developed eyes, forelimbs and hindlimbs, and laterally compressed tail. And you can see here the tail do possess the caudal fin. Okay, this is the caudal fin, very clear. It is laterally compressed tail. Axolotl, it provides a very important example for neoteny and or pedogenesis. Neoteny, N-E-O-T-E-N-Y, neoteny, and pedogenesis. Pedo means pediatrician, pediatrics, isn't it? So it is something related with larval stage. Okay. Genesis means to produce or to reproduce, to generate. So here, when food and water are sufficient, it continues to remain in its larval stage. The axolotl larva, it continues to remain in the larval stage, but develop sex organs and become sexually mature. So they start reproducing sexually without undergoing metamorphosis. They retain the larval character but become sexually mature and start to reproduce. Okay, such a phenomenon is known as the pedogenesis. Right? On the other hand, if water level is very low and food and oxygen are scarce in water, aquatic life becomes difficult, or it may be the larva may find it difficult to survive in water. So in that case, what happens is it metamorphoses and it comes to land to a terrestrial adult. At that time, the gills and all these are lost, and it becomes an Amblyostoma, complete urodelian lizard-like terrestrial form. So during this, its gills, gill slits, caudal fin disappear. Neoteny is thought to be induced by the lack of iodine in water and also by genetic reasons. Some species such as Amblyostoma mexicanum are genetically neotenous. Genetically neotenous in the sense they are the neotenic nature. It is because of the genetic background. Okay, so here you can see that is a very important thing of it is axolotl larva. It is very unique, right? Now, what is pedogenesis and what is neoteny? It is almost one and the same, but neoteny, it is the retention of larval character in the adult body. Okay, so it is an adult, but larval characters are retained in the adult body. That is what is referred as a neoteny. Okay, So here, like retention of like embryonic cartilaginous skeleton in the adult of the cartilaginous fishes. That's an example for neoteny. Larval gills, retaining of larval gills in some adult salamanders. That is a neoteny. Okay. Now, pedogenesis, it is otherwise known as pedomorphosis. It refers to the development of gonads and reproduction, that is, production of young ones by an immature larval animal. So as such, the animal is in its larval stage or immature stage, but they gain sexual maturity, develop gonads, and they start to produce young ones. In such a condition is referred as a pedogenesis or pedomorphosis. Okay, so here in the case of salamander, you can see the neoteny and pedogenesis. Okay, so here as we have already seen, the some aquatic larval urodeles, they delay or fail to metamorphose and yet become sexually mature, reproduce young ones. Okay, so here you can see that the distinction between these two processes becomes blurred and overlapped, like pedogenesis and neoteny. Okay, but whatever it is, the definition have to be clear about. Okay. Now, this axolotl larva, it is actually a classical example of neoteny and pedogenesis among amphibians. Then we have seen that this Amblystoma mexicanum, it lives in the highlands of Mexico, and it is closely related with the tiger salamander, Amblystoma tigrinum, in high altitudes of Colorado. Ordinarily, they go through typical gilled aquatic larval stages and then metamorphose to transform into adult. The adult, it is air breathing, while the larva, it is gill breathing. However, under certain circumstances, as we have already seen, the larvae, they do not metamorphose, retain their gills and aquatic habitat, but become sexually mature. And this sexually mature but morphologically immature larval stage with external gills is known as axolotl. That is, axolotl larva, it is actually the larval stage with the external gills, all the morphologically larval characters, but sexually mature. Okay. So the name was given by natives of Mexico who captured these axolotl larvae for their food. So in their language, axolotl means servant of water. So at one time, axolotls were considered as a separate genus. But in 1865, some axolotls which were brought to Paris in France, they actually lost their gills and fins, and they underwent metamorphosis to become a completely terrestrial adult form salamanders. Okay, so only then in 1865 they came to know that axolotls are not actually a different species, but instead those neotenic larval forms. Okay, so axolotls have been important laboratory experimental animals for quite a long period of time, and for most of them now used worldwide have actually descended directly from those which were taken to Paris in 1864 and 1868. Okay, so this is all about the Urodela. So we saw the characters of Urodela. Then we found three examples: Necturus and Amblystoma as species, and axolotl larva as a classical example for neoteny and pedogenesis, very unique to the amphibians over here. Okay, right. Thank you.